So what would happen if all the rich people left California? A while ago, I think I put up a video that was like, people are leaving California and maybe that's a good thing. And my idea was simply that a lot of the problems that California might have might tend to do with the high percentage of home ownership in California, because one of the problems that they have is high real estate prices, and one of the solutions is multi family buildings, like condos or whatever else. And people who own their own homes tend to put up stiff resistance, at least according to Economics Explained, I think is where I got that information from. And I was saying that if a lot of homeowners leave California, then they won't be there to, they can rent out their houses or sell them, but maybe rent. And maybe that would loosen the grip on people putting up a resistance to multi-unit buildings in their area. And that might reduce some of the pressure on California and alleviate some of their problems. And the thing about it is I think it's a good thing. But at the same time, a lot of wealthy people are saying that they're leaving. So what if all of them left? Well, the first big problem, of course, is that California has high income tax, and that's one of the things that they complain about, the wealthy people. And for every person that leaves California, especially wealthy people, that's going to be a lot of revenue that California is losing, which means that it's probably going to tend to worsen the problems that are in California, meaning that, the money for infrastructure and for I don't want to say policing, but all these whatever things that are necessary to make the state run smoothly, they are going to suffer from the lack of revenue of these people who are leaving. Now, in a curious case of, again, we're talking about if everybody in California leaves, and I was starting from an individual basis, but going all the way up. If all the rich people in California leave, and California is starved for revenue because the rich people are going to be paying most of the money, I'm thinking of people who are employers and whatever else, they're going to earn a lot, they're going to pay high taxes, but the people who they employ in California are not going to be making a lot of money. Some of them, many of them, might be people who don't even pay any taxes, who need that money in order to survive and stay in California. So obviously that seems like it would be a big problem, because it sounds like California would be starved. It would be starved for cash, and conditions there would just get worse. A lot of the problems probably would worsen, which is kind of weird because, Graham Stephan, he is a real estate podcaster, and he left California and took his income tax revenue with him to go to live in Nevada. Now, the thing about it is, it's a small amount of money potentially in terms of the grand overall schemes of things. And yeah, I'm kind of dipping back into the individuals for a second, just to demonstrate one thing. He has a lot of property in California. California no longer has his revenue to prop up the state. If things start to go to hell in California, that is not going to help the value of the real estate that he owns in California. So it seems like it's free, right? You leave and you save all of this money, but especially when you own real estate. Let's say you are leasing out real estate to other people, the value of that real estate could potentially not grow as fast or even go down because you left and there's less revenue to maintain the standard of living in California. So as more and more people leave, the impact of these rich people leaving is going to be that the people who leave first, you're not going to see as big an impact at first. But by the time you get to the, let's say, midway, there's a lot less people. And every person that leaves at that point, it's going to be a bigger impact. And things are just generally going to go south quicker and quicker and quicker. Even to the point where, let's say all the rich people are leaving, who are the last people who are leaving? Who are they going to sell their houses to? Now, to be 100% accurate, Graham Stephan hasn't actually left California yet. He is going to leave, but as far as I know, he's already either bought or put down a deposit on a house. Maybe that's the same thing. And he's told everybody, which does not make it worse. When you tell everybody that you're leaving California and you tell them, all the reasons that you're leaving California, not only does that encourage people who are living in California to leave, doesn't that also discourage people who are coming to California from coming to California? And if high demand increases prices and low demand decreases prices, aren't you decreasing the value of your real estate when there are fewer people who want to buy it because they know that California has all these problems that you're talking about, and many of them are actually leaving? So that's a kind of an interesting point of view. But like I said, whoever is last in a scenario where all the rich people were leaving California, which is not the case yet, but whoever is left last is going to be the ones who are holding the bag. And it would be in a scenario like that, which is not realistic and it's not happening. In a scenario like that, things would just get worse and worse and worse, quicker and quicker and quicker. And in the end, would it just be a bunch of middle-class people in California and homeless people? And then what? What's that scenario going to be like? A bunch of people are going to lose out on their real estate because nobody is going to want to come and buy it? No, this is not just a California thing. This happens, I think, all over the world, where I feel like people who are in, let's say, a place that is doing well, a place where the economy is growing, for example, I don't know, like, let's say the UK, before this pandemic, you might see like a lot of people being attracted to come live in a place like that. And that would change the people that you see walking around. It would change the area. And a lot of people who are conservative might not like that. And they might want to reduce the amount of people who are coming in. And then as a result of that, they might want to Brexit, right? They might want to say, hey, let's separate ourselves from these other people. Let's either go live somewhere else, or let's separate ourselves via Brexit. And I think in a case like with the UK, the rest of Europe is like, oh, you're not going to get all the benefits of being in this thing and leaving at the same time. Well, that's that case. But let's look at Catalonia, I think it is, in Spain. They have that part of Spain has a really good economy. And they have decided, many of the Catalonians, that, hey, we don't want to be part of Spain anymore because things are good here. And we just want to be separate because, we're cool being wealthy, or at least better off on our own. We want to be able to control Catalonia. And also, when you look at California in general, apparently a lot of people want to break up California, and I would not doubt that they want to break it up into the rich part where they would live and the poorer parts where everybody else would be, and they wouldn't have to pay all these high taxes that they're talking about. So it's something that I think happen. And if you look, at the first world, the developed world, however you want to call it, they would like to put up a wall. They would like to reduce the number of people who are coming in from either the Middle East, Syria, and from Africa. They would like to prevent all of these immigrants coming in. Even though they need people, they would like to be able to control it, Or like Japan. Japan has all of these restrictions as to who can come in when, let's say, and they basically limit who can come in because Japan is a wealthy country, even though they need people because they have a shrinking population. So it's not just California rich people who want to say, well, ooh, this place is getting icky because, all these people who, poor people are coming in here and dropping my real estate values. And as they leave, they are dropping the real estate prices themselves because in a bid to leave, I'm sure they are looking to sell their houses at potentially a lower price. Because they can still make money off of reductions in their income tax, or maybe lease their place to people who are less wealthy, or rent it out to people who are less wealthy, and that might reduce again the income of California. It's just kind of nutsy that all the people who are leaving and complaining about California, which is their right to do, may be bringing about the worsening and the deterioration of California. But again, at the end of the day, while the revenue might be missed, the fact that there are fewer rich people around might reduce the cost of living for the remaining people, and in turn they might be able to live a better quality of life. They might be able to find places to live for a reasonable salary, because as these rich people who are not spending as much money are not around to spend as much money, people just have to get used to the fact that people who were living off of these rich people's expenditures will just have to drop their prices. Unfortunately, cost of living means the cost of the real estate prices in the places that these rich people have left, which is, along the lines of what I was saying before. Maybe it is a good thing that this would happen, so that the rich people would lose out on the property values of their property increasing, or it might actually decrease, but it might be better for everyone else, because without the rich, without their revenue, California might not be as nice a place for the homeless people to live, and they might stop coming to California, or they might just leave for greener pastures, as they say, which might not be a horrible thing altogether for everyone involved. But it's not likely. I've heard people complain, the amount of taxes we pay, that they should be treating these homeless people better. But at the same time, people should get a tax break in order to improve the economy. You can't do both of those things at the same time. But anyway, that's just my thoughts. See ya.